Hi, family. In this episode, I want to touch on a subject that sets my teeth on edge. and in fact just did in an interaction I had with a loved one. I do want to mention that I'm really, really very, proud is a label you could use. Though there must be more accurate ones, but I'm really happy with how I responded, because a big part of my recovery, huge part of my recovery, has been in learning how to emotionally regulate triggering situations or conversations or events. And I realized, I guess I've come to know for myself, and I've seen it, I think, enough of a pattern to say this with relative assurance, that we only get so far. I mean, I don't ever picture me as getting perfect at this, but I am very proud of happy with my progress. When the quote unquote triggering conversation occurred, I was able to quickly end the conversation in a congenial fashion, spend some time thinking about it, and then I sent a message of boundaries surrounded by love, right? I was able to be very clear and concise in my truth without being attacking or filled with anger or rage. And that is major progress. So as the result of being able to do that, what I shared was that throughout this person's life, I was there for this soul, time and time and time again, in one particular event that got national attention on television. And it was, anyway, so there's this long history of being there for this person who was unable, unwilling, whatever reason behind it, did not give that same thing back. And I gave this person grace because there are reasons to. But in some regards, irrespective of what our mental capacities are or where we lie on the intellectual scale, we all have this common sense about us, all of us, that know what it is to be in a relationship that gives and takes, right? So we are accountable. So then it comes back, I'll get around to this point soon enough. You're probably wondering, what the hell is she talking about? It's a freeway in this head of mine. It's taken me much, much, much too long to learn that I need to stop or greatly reduce the effort and time I put into such relationships that are one-sided, regardless of the why. I can still be polite and supportive, but I don't have to be so all giving and, if I don't do it, nobody else will, because that leads to resentment when I don't get that back, right? I mean, you don't give to receive, but it's a give and take thing. I mean, I know you know what I mean. I think you probably know what I mean. The importance of tribe. That is the main total point of this episode, is how important it is to gather around you, regardless of blood ties or none, people who are working on being the best versions of themselves, who are generous in their nature, who are kind and thoughtful And I think most especially, maybe normies, quote unquote, I don't really know that they exist, but maybe normies don't need it nearly as much because they have a natural support system. But those of us who have come from massively dysfunctional backgrounds, and trust me when I tell you, there are a lot of us out there, a lot more than I realized for a long time. But those of us who come from that kind of a background, we don't have that kind of support system. So we actually have to build that network for ourselves. And every time we pour energy into someone who just sucks energy, whether it's by their habit, nature, whatever reason it is, they only take but do not give back, then that's energy we don't have to pour into the other areas where there are people who will. I think about how blessed I am. I just met the other morning, had coffee with my friend who winters in Florida. It's a rough life, but somebody has to live it. I adore her. I was able to give her her sassy soul sister flowers the pots that I made for my girlfriends. There's a video earlier, it talks about how to make one of those, I think. But I had a little spring get together and gave each one of my girlfriends that, but Edie was in Florida. So anyway, we got together the other morning, and my friend Tracy, who I adore with all that I am, who has had my back over and over again, she was there as well. And I said to them both how blessed I felt that I had learned at last to focus more on the gratitude in those friendships. We're always so, like, we always think about what we don't have. And we go through that when we're grieving. I mean, I don't take any of that away. I mean, it's something we have to do, right? But hopefully we get to the other side of that where we start going, wow, I really do have a lot of blessings. I really, really do have a lot of blessings in my life. I've got a niece in Texas who fills my heart with her family and the babies and the kids growing up. And, there's these special people that I just have to try and remember. They're my warm fuzzies, right? This mental list I have for myself of, hey, shake yourself up here, Missy. You got a lot to be grateful for. Like I say, that doesn't take away from the grief. And the fact of the matter is that when you come from a massive dysfunction, and the images put out there by certain family members make it seem like, some escaped. No, they didn't. Mental illness doesn't, how does that go? Mental illness doesn't run through my family, it gallops. Some have learned to manage the tools and all that, as I am doing. And that's been my message. I think I went the long way around just saying that tribe is everything. My son went out west in search of his dream, and he got into the wrong tribe. I mean, I don't mean a gang. That's not what I mean. That's not who he was. But he got into a tribe of money-driven, high maintenance, constantly going. And my son was, an empath, a deep thinker. It was, anyway, we lost him. Being in the right tribe is everything. Thanks for stopping by.